Trystie's Quest, or Kit, King of the Pigwidgeons. By Greville MacDonald. Chapter 4. An Expedition to Pixhaven. Robin's Airball. First appearance of the wonderful peppermint bullseye. But the first Saturday after Jonas made his promise to Kit, I had to drive into Pixhaven, and the event could not be missed by Kit either for pipes or Pigwidgeons. I took the old wagonette with Wixie and Good Boy, two of our horses. There is a whole hand's difference in height as they stand together. But Good Boy, who is getting old and is quite white, hangs his head a bit, and Wixie, who is a red roan, holds hers high enough to show she is the better half. They don't seem to match at all. Good Boy's collar is brown, Wixie's is black. Good Boy has long legs and a sorry tail, Wixie short legs and a proud tail. Good Boy always looks sad until he sees a hill before him, when he pricks up his ears and tramples all the difficulty under his clean hoofs. Wixie has saucy eyes and loves to look sideways out of them, so that Davy says she can see the lumps of sugar in his pocket. Though they are so different to look at, they are splendidly matched when off for a day's work together. Good Boy has taught Wixie how to go uphill as though she likes it, and he is so proud of her that directly they get onto the seafront of Pixhaven, he holds up his head high enough to make their difference quite funny. They are well agreed upon many things, the friendliness of Curdy's bark, which, to please him, they pretend to be frightened at, the delight of crunching up loaf sugar, the inferiority of all oats not out of their own bin, and lastly, that from no one will they put up with the least tickle of the whip. As to this, I never carry one. This Saturday was a lovely day. The young green on the trees was soft and happy, the quiet staring primroses were at their biggest and sweetest, and the birds were all a-twitter with the excitement of nest building and dear nonsense. The mother came with us, and we took Trystie and Robin, Kit and Davy, 2 and 2 on each side, and mother on the box seat. Both Robin and Davy, the one cherishing a little green and red pail, and the other holding his wooden spade, wanted some looking after, so that Kit was grave as a judge in his responsibility. In fact, just now anyone could see he had some very important things on his mind, and, during the 10-mile drive into the town, he had other things to do besides restraining Robin's sudden desires to climb onto the seat and lose his balance, all because a bullfinch, though quite a stranger, cocked its eye at him, or a rabbit beckoned him with a twitch of its ear. Curdy, of course, came with us, running the whole way and almost the happiest of the party. Kit was thinking, every spare minute of his time, how best to manage his Pigwidgeons. He had made up his mind that his queer roots would someday prove to be Pigwidgeons. He was quite annoyed at the defiant way they looked at him when he was doing his best for them with his pipe. He felt sorry for them, and deeply responsible, troubled, too, that he could not keep the screechy sound out of his pipe. Jonas was quite right, more screechiness came out of it than ever he put in. He began to wonder if it was not partly the creatures' own fault because they liked that sort of music better than bird notes, sweet and thrilling. He had mended the fellow who rolled off the platform onto the floor, and had fixed its breastplate and buttons more securely, and had set it in its place again. But somehow its eyes were all wrong and crooked, and it looked very wicked. Once I had a peep at them all when Kit was at school. Certainly this one in particular did look villainous. I think many an imaginative child might have become really afraid of it, even though he had made it himself. But I never knew our Kit afraid of anything. On Friday, also, I had taken the mother up the ladder to see how things were getting on, and found Kit had added another to his audience. He had found a very big, severe-looking, 2-legged old parsnip. He had wrapped it round with a bit of rusty black velvet, so that, with a new bit of white tape for a necktie, it looked precisely like a respectable if sickly parson, though, most unfortunately, one with bare legs and no shoes. Some sprouting roots at its feet Kit had trimmed so that they looked very like toes, but 6 to each foot. The head was a shriveled little apple, and brown pips were pinned through for eyes, the outer points slanting downwards. He had cut a long drooping mouth, and seemed satisfied that it should have neither nose nor ears. Kit felt more respect for this one than the others, and told me afterwards that he didn't want him to hear his pipe till he had made a better one. But before many weeks were over, he gave it for ears a couple of those striped snail shells so plentiful on the downs, and a nice bit of pale putty for a nose. It was a holiday at Pixhaven. As we got out of the wagonette, there stood an old man selling gilt paper windmills on a stick, and airballs tied together like a giant bunch of red, blue, and green grapes. The old man was calling out, "Buy my fairy airy balls, by my merry mills. Penny each, penny each. When I had taken all the things out, I found Robin looking steadfastly at Good Boy, who at the moment was hanging down his head. Curdie thought that he must copy Robin, and also fixed his eyes on the old horse. "What is it, Robin?" Trystie asked him. "I think," the little one answered as if considering very carefully, "Good Boy looks as if he's going to cry." "Why, what has he got to cry for?" "Curdie thinks," answered Robin, still thoughtfully, "Good Boy wants a blue fairy ball." That was Robin's way. He was not hinting for someone to give him one, I am sure. Rather, seeing the old horse looking tired, and realizing at the same moment the creature's need of oats together with his own longing for an airball, he rolled the two desires into one. "Well, Robin," I then said, pulling his little ear, "shall I buy Good Boy an airball and take my little boy to the White Hart stable and give him a feed of corn?" Then Robin saw the joke and danced for joy because he knew the ball I was then paying for would be his, and that Good Boy preferred the corn. Trystie, one of whose mysterious gifts being that she always had a penny and sometimes a sixpence to spare, bought a red airball for Honeypot, and a windmill for the twins. She said the ball would tell them what they mustn't do, fly away to Fairyland, and the windmill what they must, stay at home and let the wind blow them about all the same. Trystie seemed to be always thinking about Fairyland. She was fond of telling the little ones stories of certain children at the bottom of the sea always looking for lost keys, because they couldn't get home till they had found them. Kit was often quite sad about these children, and used to promise to go with Trystie if ever she went to find them. How the two of them actually did get into Fairyland will be told later. We had brought our dinner in a basket. I put the horses up at the White Hart and joined my family on the shore. After dinner I had my business to do, and so left them all with Curdie. When I came back to them, a little incident was beginning that had some importance in helping Kit to deal with his queer creatures, whose making, as I say, he was becoming more and more anxious about, owing to their wicked propensities. Had not Jonas warned him that they might pick his eyes out? He had no fear himself, but felt so worried for them that he had almost determined to tell Trystie all about it. He had not done so yet because he felt sure, though she knew lots about Fairyland, she could not understand the pipe music and his Pigwidgeons, which, after all, were only Swedes and that sort of thing. There were many delights on the beach for the country children, though Trystie seemed to find more pleasure in the little one's happiness than in the unaccustomed sights. Chief among these was a Punch and Judy show, which they had never seen before. To Kit, though he was 10 years old and most town boys would have laughed at him for his wonder, this was a mystery play indeed, full of a huge excitement, not the less glorious because its hero was as bad could be. That Punch should maltreat his baby, kill its fond mother, humbug policeman and hangman, and then cheat the gallows and trick the ghost, were, because of the comical ever dodging the grim, greedily enjoyed. Davy took the whole thing very seriously, and would not talk about it afterwards. But Robin, because the ill usage of the baby and Mistress Judy made him cry, had to be marched away by his mother to a rival show of performing cats. Curdie watched Punch with an air of patronizing disapproval, but kept his head turned away towards the cat show whenever Toby appeared on the scene. Trystie said he couldn't bear to see honest flesh and blood mixed up with bad wooden manners, not even when Toby seized his bully of a master by the nose and shook him. On the outskirts of the Punch and Judy's audience, our children's attention, as the crowd broke up, was arrested by a very pale, dirty and shabby family of 4. The eldest, a girl and no more than 6 years old, was mothering 2 small sisters and a boy. These 3 had been crying, and the 6-year-old mother was quite cross with trying to soothe the toddling 2-year-old boy, who was howling lustily. Each held a thick slice of bread, thinly smeared with red spotty jam and in different stages of demolition. As soon as he realized the situation, Kit ran off, stumbling and scrunching his little feet into the beach shingle. Calling out as he went, "I know, Mother," he made for a white-aproned man selling sweetstuff in a basket. He brought back a bagful of those large peppermint bullseyes, which are made only at Pixhaven, and through whose stone-yellow, streaky surface shines a rich, dark-brown pupil, for all the world like the eye of a kindly cow. He gave one to the howling child, who instantly set to work quieting his stormy bellowings into undulating sobs, and so successfully that the sun shone out of the tear-stained face in a smile of sublime satisfaction. We then took all 4 to a little shop and bought them buns and jumbles. The mother had learned from the eldest of the 4 how their father was away fishing and their mother out at work all day. It seems they had been sent out after breakfast to be happy, each with a slice of bread and jam and a penny for their dinners, and they must not come home till tea. For them it was but a long and dreary holiday. As we started for home again in the wagonette, Kit gave 3 of his remaining bullseyes to Trystie, Davy, and Robin, and offered the last one to his mother. She would not have it, however, knowing that Kit himself had not had one. So the boy, after some hesitation, wrapped it up in its bag again and put it in one of his many pockets, as if for some important possibility he had that moment remembered. Trystie was now beside me on the box seat. Behind us I presently heard Davy asking his mother why the youngest of that poor little family had been so naughty. I think, the mother said, they were all so tired that they couldn't be good anymore and so hungry too for some better food than bread and jam. Good boy wouldn't be so brave now, nor Wixie toss her head so saucily, unless they had had good corn to eat. Oats are better stuff than baker's bread for children as well as horses. You see, Davy, they were all happy, even the tired, cross child-mother, as soon as they got the bullseyes. But I don't think even the bullseyes would have done it but for something else hidden away in the sweeties. What do you think that was, Davy? Kit looked up quickly at his mother, as if going to speak, but went a bit pink and was silent. The mother still looked to Davy for the answer. He, puzzled, consulted the passing treetops for a whole minute, and then asked, rather doubtfully and with head on one side, "The peppermint taste, was it, mother?" The answer was perhaps rather a come-down from the treetops, but little Robin piped in, as if in approval, "I do love bullseyes," and left his mother's side to cuddle up by Kit, who, he knew, had one of the wonderful sweets still in his pocket. The mother laughed heartily and so did I and Trystie. "No, no, Davy," the mother said, "it must have been something better even than peppermint that fed the tired goodness in the children. Wasn't it love and kindness?" "Course it was," said Robin, with such an air of "I told you so all along" that Davy, in an aggrieved and querulous tone, said, "Well, why couldn't you say so, stupid?" Threat of trouble between the 2 younger boys at once appeared. But Kit, the big brother umpire sitting between them, put an arm round each of the tired heads. Then he gently rubbed their noses together like Hottentot friends, he said, till they laughed and kissed and made it up again. I looked round for a moment and saw Kit's head above the other 2 beaming up at his mother as if in full understanding of her question, though he had been too shy to put it into words. Robin then got into his mother's arms and fell fast asleep, still holding the string of his airball. Davy joined us in front and helped me drive, so that we had a happy, quiet journey home. Before many days were over the remaining peppermint bullseye proved of strange, indeed, most extraordinary, use to Kit. I can't help thinking that afternoon had much to do with the wonderful adventures so soon experienced by him. He never forgot the shocking punch or the miserable Judy or the gallows. But the most important thing learned was the effect of the bullseye in bringing sunshine out of sulks and storm. I need hardly speak of the delight Honeypot discovered the next day in her red airball, or even of the twins in their windmill, a delight that lasted many days. But poor Robin, only 3 days after, let his blue airball escape, and a sudden gust of wind carried it straight up into the big ash that overhangs the barn. We could see it easily, but, though its string hung down, no ladder could reach it. While, however, there was life, there was hope. The little blue balloon could be plainly seen. Every day it was carefully examined by its owner's keen eyes, and every wind was enjoined to bring it safely to earth again. End of this chapter.